Hello, everybody. It's the old bear from the old bear's den of Bigfoot, and I decided to have an impromptu uh, show night. And there's some things I want to tell y'all about some videos coming up, and something that has happened in the last couple of days. And well, let me just say this: I got backup. Uh, I've needed it for a while. Uh, been having a little more trouble with my eyes, and I need I need a buddy. And I've got a very good buddy here that's willing to go out with me, but I want someone that's experienced and well, actually, he's very well experienced. And I thought, you know what? I can help him out. He can help me out. So, without further ado, I want to introduce to y'all my backup. We have KG. He's here with me. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here too. Tough trip. Real tough trip. A little bit, a few miles. Harder on Cecil than it actually was me. Uh, it was the last that we Salina, Kansas, for years over 1,000 miles. Mm-hmm. And it was straight through Kansas City traffic and St. Louis traffic and Lexington. And, so uh, I'm here, and I made this choice to come here, but not just I I, I want to learn about the South and what's going on down here. These multiple cave systems that underground here. You know my firm beliefs on the caves. Yeah. Um, as far as with the altitude and the difference in the the weather here. Mm-hmm. Uh, you have a lot more aggressive type Sasquatches here. They seem to be more vocal and uh, basically just they like they will terrorize people. Yeah, they do that. The thing that really fascinates me most about these creatures down here is the way that they chase you, but they don't catch you. They're just right behind you, knowing that they could. Yeah. They're chasing people. They're chasing people out of the forest. Just terrorizing the heck out of people. Banging on the sides of their homes. Uh, just being nasty. They're fascinating. I want to. I've told you I'd like to experience something like that. And I keep telling you don't. And you keep telling me that I don't. But I would welcome it. I would. I'd be able to. I think I'd be able to uh, keep within myself. Okay. I really do, especially some of the things that I've experienced. Um, I've been in some areas where they come and check me out and come right to my camp while I've been gone. Whether it was for 20 minutes or an hour and a half. Found footprints, right? Places where they've been standing and stuff like that. So it is a little bit unnerving. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I've always felt like I never pose a threat. I don't. I'm not overly aggressive with my approach, and I let them know when I find something. This so far that has worked for me now, but it doesn't mean that was the way it be here. But with with you knowing the area and the things that you told me about, I think mentally I'm prepared for the count. Very good.
So you've not seen a lot of the area, but you've seen where I live.
Right.
What do you think about the area that I live in?
Well, I think where this abandoned house is over here, and there's ridge back there through that meadow across over there that you were talking about. I think that I need to go up there. I think I need to do some looking around. There's something that stays on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in seeing what that's all about. There's one gentleman that subscribed to your channel and my channel. I guess it just lives north of here.
Mm-hmm.
That was commenting on the video that I'm in West Virginia that was telling about the cave. Now I know a lot of people dispute that and say they don't live in caves or they don't dwell in certain areas, and which is fine. But that's for me to find out.
Right.
On my own. With the ideas I get in my head about an area, and then with your help on schooling me on where I'm going or where you're sending me, I have a heads up. I have Google Earth to look at. I have you to tell me about the area, where not to go, how far to go in, or what side of the forest where the activity is at. So I have a heads up. Um, I want to learn as much as I can about these creatures down here. I hope to find something significant. We all hope for that, for something significant, but that remains to be seen. That's hope. I have faith that something eventually got to break loose.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my mindset's at. I have a strong mindset on it. I'm very focused on it. I joke around a lot, you know me.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm very serious, about these creatures. There's not to be taken lightly.
No, because they sure ain't like.
No, no, they're not. They have different ways that they seem to. I've always said I believe that they can perceive a person's intentions, and depending upon the person, is in how they're going to mess with.
Mm-hmm.
Some people seem to be messed with a lot harder than others. Some people get the hint quicker than others. They got to get out of here. Some people linger, and that's not a good thing to do. Linger. I don't feel if you're in an area where they're starting to get active and you're starting to roust about, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's time to get out. I don't care where you are. I don't think it matters where you are. I don't care if you're in the Himalayas, in the edge of the, the, the forest is getting close to the desert. I think that rule applies where, depending upon who you are as an individual, is a big. You agree with that, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree with that. The simple fact is, you know, when I first started doing this, I was young, hard headed. I'm glad my wife wasn't listening to this now, because she called me hard headed now. But
She's a wonderful lady, by the way. When I got here yesterday, I got lost. I missed the exit that I was supposed to meet Barb at, and I went on down Interstate 64, and I pulled into this place and called, and I guess I was out by what was the refinery?
um, no, you were actually up near uh, one of the chemical plants.
Okay, well, something, but all this steam coming out like stacks.
Mm-hmm.
So when Barb, the first thing she did when she saw me was immediately went into a mode. I could see her face, the countenance on her face was she needed to calm me down immediately. Because I was tired. I hadn't slept for a whole day. I drove a whole day, a whole night, and then into the morning the next day. And just constantly just go, wouldn't stop for fuel. Cecil, I wasn't letting Cecil drink water. I wasn't drinking water. I wasn't eating a whole lot because I didn't want to stop. And it just was real hard on Cecil. And it played on my emotions. So Barb was very professional in just the way that she helped calm me down. And I didn't expect that. I really didn't. It was like a gift from the Lord. You know, it was like, here, you made it. You know, even though you were a knucklehead getting here, you know. So yeah, it's all good. I'm glad to be here, and involvement in this is my focus is a lot more intense. In I'm more my focus is more intense here for some reason. I mean, don't get me wrong; it was really intense in Utah, but I didn't have that avenue to have that person to talk to about something I may have experienced, or I didn't want to do it through texting or phone calls. It just didn't work. It worked momentarily, but I knew I had the support, but it was 2,000 miles away. Yeah. So I made that choice to just basically start over at 67 years old, which is fine. I have no problem with that. You know, I can live. I have my own income and as Cecil, and so it's all good. And I'm a high priest in my church, so I have the church to help, you know, with support in decisions I make, and so I'm looking forward to that new realm of social life, a whole different. Because when I lived in Tennessee, back in the '80s, I remember the hospitality, the warmth, and the just the way people approach life was a lot different than the rat race is out west. Even in Utah, with all the same Mormonism, with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a lot of the things that have happened since COVID and things like that is terrible. It's really altered people, and I don't want to be part of it. I don't have those strict standards. That doesn't mean I live in a gray area. It just means I don't have those good standards where I'm going to be judgmental for somebody just because they haven't had a shot. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I already know that. I've been sitting outside today, glassing the metal up there, and all on that ridge on both sides of it, just to see if I could catch any movement or see something that might be just a little bit strange. I didn't notice anything. We just have.
Well, let me ask you this question: did you see any coyotes?
No, didn't see any coyotes.
That's strange.
I saw something just up and to the left from this abandoned house over here. Now this place is interesting. I'll have to show you if you want a video. I don't know if it's okay to go over there.
Well, I'll go and make sure it's all right for you.
Okay.
I'll make a phone call.
All right. Because that's interesting. That whole ridge right there. And you say there's nothing forever going on.
Very long ways before you get to a house.
So Old Bear tells me that this is the time of year where they're moving through the area. I like that phrase, moving through the area. I've heard from a few people here on YouTube, which goes against what some people say that they don't move distances. I don't believe it. I believe that they do move distances.
Yes, they do.
In certain areas. Maybe in the swamps, it's totally different. In Louisiana and down in that area. You know what I mean? But something attracts them to a certain area. You say that it's because the deer are moving.
Yes.
So it all makes sense that why this area is so active here. And then that old boy that you know who lives up north of here, he was hearing him scream last night after the rain fell. You know, down by the lake or so.
Yeah. Over near Woodrum's Lake is the name.
Yeah, that's what he said. So I have everything here. I have all the ingredients, I guess you could say, to pursue trying to find out, you know, how they're moving about in this area. You know, if they're here, where do they go after they're here? Do you know? I mean, have you kept track of this? Whether there's sightings up through these areas? Or
yeah, because it's near my home. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anything near my house, when it comes to Bigfoot, anytime there is a sighting of one in this area, I need to know about it. Because all the ridges on it are connected in some way, shape, or form.
I've seen them on Google Earth.
And
it's like
2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they can cross the road.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This what's coming up here is like going up into nowhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay.
The way Barb brought me into your place yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
he rose and was stuck. Then there's the garbage man and the whole line of cars waiting. I thought this is cool. Nobody's gonna pass the garbage man. You know, one guy did, remember?
Oh yeah.
But Barb stopped. I stopped. People behind me stopped. Waiting for the garbage man. It was like a warm world of memories of when I lived in Tennessee.
It's respect.
And those roads with the dips and the hard corners. And you go around the corner and there's a big dip. It looks like you're going to fall off the road. Half the road sunk in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so cool, you know.
Well, that's West Virginia.
It's like being on a NASCAR racetrack. You know?
Well, NASCAR, you know, they got, you know, they make a bunch of left turns and the road's always, you know, it's banked just right for them, and
that one right,
and there ain't no dips in it.
That one right turn where it really dips, it looks like you're sliding right off the road forward. That was cool.
But
she just
yeah, just don't. The only thing is though, my wife don't go. You know, she just goes. Pat, 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 pat.
Well, she was moving along pretty good. She was.
Were you sure you was behind the right vehicle?
I was behind the vehicle. She was showing off to. Look at this. I know how to handle these roads. Come on, KG. Come on.
I was like, go down.
Oh, it was good. It was fantastic. Then I'm looking at all how everything, you know, getting into the hollow.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's narrowing in and steep, the steep, ridge, you know, all the ridge lines and stuff. Mm-hmm. This stuff, wherever you get very real. You get that realness, the feeling of realness to what you see in the area. You know, you hear about it when you're watching videos, and you're from living in the West, people down south and back east in certain areas, and you have to be there to visualize. You have to see it, and then you get the feeling for it. Once you develop that feeling, you know, then comes understanding. You start, especially with having a little bit of experience doing this, that experience plays in. It becomes part of it. This becomes natural instinct for it. So that's what's been good. feelings are starting to develop to trying to be the best I can be at doing and keeping within the seven teachings of my people, you know. And that's
Yeah. You know, we discussed a little bit last night about where I want to take you uh, tomorrow afternoon. Uh, and the area I'm going to take you into, uh, and I've actually had to teach him how to say it, but Canola Forest.
phenomenal.
Uh, that area up there, towards the back end of it, is where all the sighting people have actually seen the park itself. Uh,
That fascinates me because you know
and that's a pretty busy park.
it's like up in Weaver County in Utah, the trout farm and that green belt that comes down in along the river, Weaver River, and Auburn River. It, it's it just is it's funny how they move about and how they time it and what they're going after garbage. Again, because I'm telling you, up there in Weaver County, I remember when I lived up there years and years ago, all the turned over dumpsters down when I go fly fishing down the Weaver River down by the trailer courts and the low income housing area. Mm-hmm. All those dumpsters were some of them turned over all the time. And I never gave a second thought back then what was going on. But I do now because of other people that are doing things in Utah that have mentioned these things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's fascinating that how they'll find an area and they don't abuse it. They don't ever shit in their own backyard. Mm-hmm. As a figure of speech. For you folks that don't like that word, I'm sorry. It's a good way to describe what I just said. Mm-hmm. They won't leave no trace in an area where they're hanging out. They may have out further in the perimeter, but right in that area, you don't find no sign. I've never found no sign when they're stuck in an area like that. But around it, like purgatory.
Yeah, one of these days we're going to go back out there and you're going to show me this purgatory. I'm gonna go visit them.
I can't go in there. Nope, I'll go. Not after what Kelly told me about. I mean, he said to me, "Hey, you just be careful." I said, "Kelly, what do you mean? Elaborate. Just be careful." I said, "What are you trying to tell me? Careful of what? You know what I'm talking about. That's why you're going up there." I said, "Well, say it. They won't say it. You know, he just won't come out and say, 'Be careful, Sasquatch,' or be careful of the Spaniards, you know, the spirits, because Spirit Springs is not too far from there, where a lot of people have experienced strange stuff, you know, and this you just can never get the full story about some of these things people are talking about. You hear tidbits. You just have to put the pieces together, then you get an overview. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm amazed at all the activities around here, man. And then up here where you said the end of the hollow,
Mm-hmm.
how far up is that?
About a quarter mile. Wow.
Chris,
Who?
Chris King.
Oh.
Okay.
That doesn't interfere with the video. I mean, it doesn't turn it off.
No. All right, guys. Sorry about that. It looked like somebody was calling, and we're back. So, where were we?
I can't remember for sure. I was talking about how blessed I feel to be here and get involved in this. Then you asked me a question, I answered it. And let me go.
Well, anyway, let me describe. See, the big difference between out west and here. There's benches and stuff that y'all have on the mountains out there.
Oh, sure, that's the flat area.
Yeah.
You know,
Back here, they're more prominent. And the area I want to take you into, you can all stay for it. You know, there's Bigfoot that have been seen down in the forest itself. People have come up on the walking trails and the horse riding trails that they have there.
they have a question there.
Yes. They actually have a pool there. They have a camping area. And they've been heard in there. They've been seen in there. And the Bigfoot, they don't do much interaction with the people in that area. So to get you started off here, it's best to take you somewhere where they're not aggressive. The aggression can wait. Uh, Not because I don't trust you, it's because I don't want to put you in that type of a situation where, you know, they come charging in and, you know, want to try to scare you out.
So that's why I told that instructor, you know, full roll of toilet paper with.
Well, that's a good idea, but, you know.
No, I understand. And I appreciate it. I really do it. So I don't want to jump in the frying pan.
Right.
I mean, I do, but I don't. I want to experience whatever I can, but I don't want to do it at the cost of my life for Cecil or you or anybody else or have some kind of traumatizing experience that scrambles my mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've seen that on some of these shows.
Yeah, I've actually watched guys,
Just melt down.
tough guys,
Just melt.
just turn into a blubbering idiot.
Fascinating. There's been a couple of times where I felt really unnerved, surrounded,
Mm-hmm.
and I just crawl in the back of the truck and go to sleep. I just lay down with Cecil, and sometimes he'll growl. He'll growl. Wait here, wait here. Sometimes like that.
Mm-hmm.
So something's out there. I'm not saying it's Sasquatch, but something's out there that
He doesn't like.
he doesn't like. And
Yeah, well, we don't want to put you in that situation. Maybe in a month or two, or 3 or 4 months down the road, you know, depending on the weather, because the weather has a lot to do with their travel throughout here. If you start getting super cold days and snow and stuff like that, then it kind of curtails their movement because they actually will go and find a cave, go into it. Uh, and a lot of them around here, if there's caves around, they'll use them. They use them all year long.
some of them are probably so well concealed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, of course they are. I know that just from living in Tennessee. We used to go caving. This one guy was telling me about Randy.
Mm-hmm.
He would say, "There's caves up in there," but I've never been up there, but I know there's caves. How do you know? We go hiking. Sure enough, there'd be caves up there. Some of them look like they shouldn't be there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of caves through here. That's what this guy up north was saying in the comment. And then you verified that. Um, where do you think they go when they're not here?
When they're not here, there is an area that they go into that is, like I told you, this ridge line that goes that way goes a long ways. It's 3 or 4 miles down through there, across the top of the mountain that they stay on and they go down. But it turns and goes down along just below the river, just above the river. And they follow it down.
The Elk River?
No, it's Pocatello River. Everybody calls it the Pokey because it's a slow meandering type stream. And there's been Bigfoot seen all along the Poca River. And there has been Bigfoot seen along the Poca River for as far back as I've found as the early 1800s, 1820, 1830. And they follow that river. And they've done it for well over 100 years. When they started coming into this area, this part of the state. Now, if you go into the northeastern part of the state where the high mountains are, you see here you're in what they call the Appalachian foothills.
Right.
But if you go in the Appalachian Mountains itself, in the state of West Virginia, they've been there for a long, long time. Since the Englishmen and before that, when the Native American was here, which was the Cherokee tribe, and you had some Mohican in the state of West Virginia, but it's the northern part of West Virginia. And a lot of that, the interaction between the Native American and the Bigfoot was kind of a mutual respect. You stay here and hunt here, we hunt over here. And that's the way that I was told. And so, but when the English came here, that all changed. They started going into their area, and they didn't like it. So the English started shooting at them. And I think the 200 years of being shot at has made them more aggressive towards people. But that's mainly up in the upper parts of the mountains. Down here in the foothills, they've expanded their territory into the foothills, into western West Virginia, Ohio, southeastern Pennsylvania, down into Virginia, Kentucky. You're in the foothills. And in those areas, they're not as aggressive, but they can be. They will be if they have to be. But they're not aggressive just because you're there. Some areas, like over in Kentucky, around Carter Caves and Daniel Boone National Forest,
right,
they're aggressive. Nothing you can do about that. They're just aggressive. But there's ways to handle that. I mean, there's ways to mitigate them being aggressive towards you. And I'll do my best to teach you how to deal with the ones that are aggressive when we come upon them. And, you know, it just takes nerves of steel, pretty much. You just don't back down. You stand your ground, stand tall, and you tell them, hey, this is not going, it ain't going to end good for you. Don't come over here. If you come over here too close, then it's not going to be pretty for you. It'll be me going home, but you ain't going to go home.
Is there any, are they common?
Yeah. Yeah, see? Yeah. Flat Rock's here, Trailblazer, Sharon. All my regulars are here tonight. Glad to have y'all.
Yeah, it's good to do this with Goldberg. I'm excited. I mean, I'm stoked.
I'm glad.
Every time I go out back here, I got my ear to the wind. Newton is called There Is a Wind. Mm-hmm. So if it's on the wind, I'll feel it and I'll hear it.
Well, I just hope you don't go and do like my wife did that morning. When she went to go out and get us something to eat and stand out there at the end of the driveway for 10 minutes trying to figure out if she actually heard what she heard.
Yeah, she told me about that.
It's spooky.
Yeah, it is spooky to hear him scream. It is. Especially when you hear more in a different direction. It is. It's a little unnerving. Okay, I was just over there. I was just there.
Yeah.
And I got a free pass. Where were they?
Well, they were there.
They were there.
They were there. They just let you go through. It's the same as we were on the front porch at night with an interview with the Squatch and Cowboy. And that one over here decided to sound off, and then he killed a coyote because it was definitely a coyote that got shut up right when it started to howl. And you could hear the other coyotes further back up in that holler over there screaming their heads off because one of their own got taken for dinner. And, you know,
Aggressive hunting.
yes.
Like with them elk legs I found.
Mm-hmm.
They got me. I was really starting to. I mean, I'm that close to the entrance to Purgatory down through that tunnel of woods along this creek there, and those elk legs are laying there. And you know, a lot of people can look at that as there's poached. No, these were ripped right out of the socket. There's no saw marks or nothing on it. You know what I mean?
That's not.
And then the footprints, of course. And you know, you just know. You know. I went down into Purgatory, what, 50 yards from one of my videos. I looked down into there. Oh no, no, no. No wonder nobody goes down here. Even the fishermen never go down in there. They don't. They just don't go down.
Well, we got places like that here too.
Yeah, I know you do.
And I've been in them.
What about up around the lakes, up in the mountains around here? There's a lot of activity.
One lake in particular I can think of, which is Summit Lake. Now that lake in the summertime, they have camping there. There's fishing. There's bass, all kinds of fish in it. But when you get to the end of December, into January, and a little bit of February, there's not a lot of activity up there. But it's also on the backside of what we call the Cranberry Glades. It's used to be a bear sanctuary.
Cranberries, that wild
Yes.
cranberries.
And they used to go in that area, and that was the time of the year they would go in there. And the reason they would go in there is because it's got rhododendron, you know, a lot of entangling type of area, real thick. And there's caves in there also,
Blackberry bushes and
all that stuff. But the thing of it is, they would come out there after all the trout fishermen would start fishing, and then you get people camping through the summer and early spring all the way up until the early fall, and then you got hunters that would come in after that, and they would spend 3 months in there. But now they're in there all the time, and it's not because they've been pushed out of an area. It's because their numbers have expanded and they've moved in there.
That's one thing I find believe. Their population is increasing, and they're finding areas to be able to procreate without being bothered. More so than before. I firmly believe it's like with some species of wildlife, there's been rapid increase in time. Look at how the wolf population is coming. You know what I mean? They were virtually, and the buffalo. You give them that chance of sanctuary, or you don't provide a sanctuary for Sasquatch, it was taken.
Yeah.
But these areas, they're able to grow the population and expand and take territory, claim it. And all these experiences people are having, being terrified and scared in the forest and chased out and stuff like this. It is a tough situation to be in, because who do you talk to about it? Do you come to the TV or to the BFRO, or to some other person that's on YouTube to tell your story, and hopefully it gets told uh, in a right way? Where that's a heck of a position to be in. Was my exciting in 1995? It was to me it was like experiencing something new in the wilderness. I've had a lot of experiences in the wilderness in my life with wildlife, and I had a pet skunk named Judy that I met in the woods. So I would take Jolly Ranchers every time I went fishing down there on the river, and she'd take them right out of my hand. Never sprayed me once. So there's experience. It's like spiritual stuff, and it adds up, and the experience has become a reference to what the possibilities are. So it's amazing that, like I said, about these creatures are on a rapid increase, population. And it fascinates me how they take care of their young.
Yeah. Well, next,
sort of like humans,
yeah,
with the young.
Yeah.
So
basically,
basically pretty much the same as far as care,
yes,
and love and family unity. They have strong family unity. I believe that. I believe it. And my outlook, my outlook on what I call the patriarchs and overseers. You believe that is happening here? That there's a grandfather or a sentinel or whatever you want to call it. That's something that is like in charge of clans or certain families. Now, how big do these creatures get around here anyway?
Anywhere from 6 foot to biggest I've heard in a four-state area Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio. It's been 12 foot. It's a pretty big, ugly boy.
Yeah, it is. You can tell, he's ugly. That big and that old.
Yeah.
He's like sea of creatures of black lagoon.
Well, they battle each other a lot here. They fight a lot. And so they have scars. And it makes them.
There's places in the West where people have said they battle. I've even heard that on the Olympic Peninsula, there's been a lot of sightings near the coasts where fish up on the river that people have actually seen them going chasing blackberries, away. So they have no fear. There's no other predator out there that I mean they could just lay down in the forest anywhere they want to, and they're not going to be bothered.
Right. Well, KG, we have an interview set up for you next week. You want to come back and tell them what you found this week and here in the wonderful state of West Virginia?
Sure.
And
If I can find anything.
Oh, we'll make sure of that.
I already can feel this energy. When I receive my name, there is wind. Newton. It's because I was everywhere. It was like I would be someplace, and what was ever there, I would absorb it. All the knowledge of that area. I was always looking around. I knew everything was in the area. All the wildlife. I could go back and I could tell folks, this is there. Um, uh, you know, uh, there was more squirrels in this one area than I've ever seen before. Or did you know that all these deer in this area? I would notice things that a lot of other people wouldn't. And so I got the name Newton, which means there is a wind, because the wind is everywhere. And so with that, I can reflect on feelings that I felt before. Like I told you about up in Eastern Washington, about the Twist River, when I was 15 years old. Yeah. Fly fishing. All by myself, way upriver from camp. And I turned around and there's an old forest road there blocked off down by the campground. This is access road. I come up there with a fish stocking truck and dump a few fish here and there, for the campground, close to the campground. But it's closed off. I can't get up there in no vehicle. And I felt like I was being watched. I mean, I stopped. I turned around, and there's a particular part of the forest up on the hill where it's this dirt sliding area. And there was just nothing but a line of forest going up into the mountain. There was something there that was taking up an extra dark spot, and and so those are the type of things that I've been in tune with a lot of my life. I just notice things. I feel feeling things, and it doesn't mean I'm special. It just means that I it's just what I did growing up. I just felt things. I kept my mouth shut about a lot of it. Like I did when I was in Utah. I didn't have nobody to talk to, nobody to go out with.
Well, now you do.
The couple of people I did, it just didn't. There was something that just maybe it was my maybe it was just me. Maybe I felt I felt this change coming ahead of time, and I just didn't know, which is a good possibility. Sometimes you just don't pinpoint them things. You don't grasp them until they happen. And you say, oh, okay, now I know why I was feeling a certain way. Sudden change or whatever. So, yeah. I have some ideas and thoughts. Of course, I'll share with you, and I already have. But more, I'm your student. I told you that. I'm here as a student.
Now, you do remember the account that I put out on here about when my mentor disappeared, right?
Uh-huh.
Don't call me a teacher, please.
Well, I'm not calling you a teacher. That's not right. That's not the way I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying it's time. It's time for you to school.
Okay. Okay.
Here.
Okay. And a lot of stuff that you learned out west, a lot of that'll apply to the Bigfoot that are non-aggressive here. The aggressive ones, there's a different way you have to handle that.
Yeah, that's what you keep telling me. I get to experience that. But
We'll get to that.
But when I do, I'll know.
Yeah.
I'll know. It'll be a better experience with these others.
Well, let's stop here, and we will bring you back next week. And if you, I mean, let everybody know what you find next week and what you've seen here. I'll do my level best to keep up with you and take you to some places that I know that they are. And
I'm excited about that because it's not like what I was doing on my own. Being involved with somebody that adds a dimension to this that, that is needed. I mean, if you're on your to those folks that are out there by themselves doing this, that's all good.
mm-hmm.
But for me, because of who I am as an individual, I have to be able to share. I have to be able to talk about it because that's where you put your thoughts. You get feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Feedback's important. I'm not closed-minded. I'm not a know-it-all, and I won't claim ever to be an expert in anything except fly fishing. No, there's something I'm an expert at.
Well, y'all be better than that because I'm my own.
But no, if you put forth effort, it pays off.
Yeah.
You can't. My mom always used to tell me, "Can't never did anything except sit in the corner and cry."
Yeah, I've heard that once or twice when I was a kid. But everybody, we're going to end this live. I wanted to let everybody know that KG made it to my very humble abode safely and soundly, and I have a very good friend here with me now, and that wants to learn about the Bigfoot here in the East and learn their little quirks, and I'm overjoyed to have him here.
Can I
Means
mention
a lot.
something? Can I mention something?
Yeah.
Don't ever let nobody tell you that these people are stupid. Now that you hear, well, why do they run across the road in front of the car? Because they want to.
Yeah, it's not just a happenstance.
No, they're doing it on purpose.
They do it because they think on the same level we do in everything, but they have a certain way of thinking. It is everything they do is based upon what's best for their clan, and they think militarily. They don't think, well, maybe there's better berries on the other side of the road. That's why they run across.
You get to talking to folks about that crossing site.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them 9 times out of 10 you talk to them about what they were previously doing was, either being stupid or partying or they heard something and were leaving
Mm-hmm.
and it showed itself.
Yeah.
So here, look at this.
Yeah.
And yeah, they make mistakes. Sure, just like
Not very often.
Not very often, though. The mistakes they make, they're so quick at adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that is so fascinating how fast they can adjust to and adapt to any situation. And they always have a way to disappear.
Yep. And there's a little trick I'm going to teach you too. That way he'll show you that they don't just vanish into some portal. And I learned that a long time ago.
I'm sorry if I shattered some people's feelings, but I don't believe that either.
Yeah.
I just don't. My people have taught me that it's a flesh and blood creature. When it bleeds, it leaves footprints.
Yep.
It kills, it eats.
Yep.
An interdimensional being would not do that.
It doesn't have to.
It doesn't have to.
Well, guys, we're going to end this live tonight. Thank you all for coming on such a short notice, and I'm so glad to have you all come on, and I appreciate it. And we'll see you on Friday night. This coming 1 week from today, 9 p.m. And we'll have KG back, and he'll tell you everything that he's learned in a week's time, which I hope is a lot.
Well, I'm sure it will be if you're the conductor.
Well, don't build me up too much until we get there.
I built you up to a point to where you pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever interrupt. If you're laying something out to me,
Mm-hmm.
don't ever interrupt unless I have a question.
Right.
That's important.
Or if there's something you need to tell me to keep it safe.
And then get right back to the task you have.
All right.
That's just the way I am. I'm like a sponge for knowledge. I like putting a sponge in water, I just absorb it.
Yeah.
That's just the way I am. I've always been like that. And so certain things I just don't care about. I don't care to learn about, so I don't pay attention to it. And I don't care about what's going on in the city lives and stuff like that. I don't care. I've experienced that in the past. I know I don't want no part of it. I don't want no part of the new norm.
Yeah.
So, okay. Good night. I'm glad I'm here, and I appreciate all my subscribers that have given me all the well wishes and asked about Cecil, and we're fine. We really are.
If they ain't, we're going to make them that way.
I mean, I might not be fun. See, Cecil's a chick magnet. And then I ask and say, well, what about me?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're cute too. But he's just so adorable.
Yeah.
And I didn't do any little alien videos on the way here because I was in the driving mode. I just didn't want to stop.
Understood.
I didn't even, I thought about it a couple times, like when I seen the dad doing that before. I was going to do a little alien thing, but I kept going.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you all. Bye, guys.